How good was Jerry Rice actually? Big shout out to Blitz for the video about to react to. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I heard a lot about Jerry Rice. I heard he's a legend, but I never really studied him. So this is gonna teach me a lot. Let's see.
What goals have you set for yourself? Number one, I would like to be the all-time receiver.
If fate hadn't intervened, you may never have played organized football. You went to a college you've never heard of, and yet you went on to live in the end zone on Sundays and atop the NFL record books forever. So, just how good was Jerry Rice?
Is he better than Justin Jefferson?
While most future NFL players spent countless nights as a kid dreaming about making it to the league, that was the furthest thing from Rice's mind. Growing up in a Mississippi town with a population of just...
I'm from the quick letter I, quick letter I, humpback, make them all die.
600 people, he was the sixth of 8 children.
You know, I think growing up in Crawford, Mississippi is just like all family. Everybody, they were very close.
With 8 kids to provide for, Rice's parents had to work non-stop to just put food on the table. Mrs. Rice would clean the houses of rich families, while Mr. Rice was a bricklayer, in addition to a handful of other random jobs. In an effort to chip in, Jerry and his brothers would often pick corn, cotton, carrots, and bale hay.
Well, it was very tight, but I think it taught us the meaning of hard work and dedication. You know, we didn't have everything, and we had to wait out our turn for clothes, for everything.
By the time he was in high school, Rice's focus was so far from one day making the NFL that he still hadn't even played organized football.
He loved
playing it outside
school?
with friends and watching it on TV, but his mother thought that it was too rough for him to join his school's team. Then, on one random school day, Rice was doing something he shouldn't have been, and everything changed. His school's assistant principal caught him and a friend skipping class, so Rice fled the scene like his life depended on it. The assistant principal was so blown away by Rice's speed that he told the football coach about it. The coach immediately offered Rice a spot on the team, but there was a problem. His mother still didn't want him to play. However, the more she fought it, the more her son was determined to make it happen. So she eventually gave in, and Rice's football playing career was officially set to begin.
So this man got in trouble and ran away so fast that they said, forget the trouble. I want you to play for this team and help us win a state championship. Hey, I respect it, bro. I get it, man.
After I got disciplined, then the principal wanted me to go out for the football team. And
Were you great right away?
No, not at all.
Every day that summer at 7 a.m., he and one of his brothers joined his father laying bricks for 8-hour shifts on scorching hot days. Jerry said, "My brother and I, we had developed this technique where you throw the bricks up, they were separated, and I was snatching them in the air. Doing this over and over again sharpened Jerry's hand-eye coordination and increased his hand strength." He also said the experience taught him the true meaning of hard work.
We had a responsibility, and you had to live up to it. You had to help generate and bring money into the house.
And as if those daily grueling shifts weren't enough, after work, Rice would get dropped off for a 2-hour football practice. And once that was over, he'd then run 5 miles to get home. Rice said he wasn't the most gifted or talented player on the team, but he had something that none of his teammates did, an appreciation for and a love of hard work. By the start of his junior season, Rice was in unbelievable physical shape and ready to finally show the world what he could do on the gridiron. He played on both sides of the ball as a wide receiver and defensive back. But because his school was so small, most of his stats weren't officially recorded. But according to a sports journalist from back then, Rice, as a senior, caught 50 passes for 30 touchdowns.
Damn, in high school? That boy cooking.
Whatever the actual numbers were, he did enough to earn himself a Mississippi All-State selection and attention from major colleges. Over 40 D1 schools contacted Rice, including his dream school of Mississippi State University. But none of them believed in him enough to offer a scholarship. The only program that did that was Mississippi Valley State, a Division I AA school. Reflecting on why he eventually committed to them, Rice said, "Mississippi Valley sent up a coach and I had a chance to have a conversation with him and shake his hand. That goes a long way towards making you feel you can really trust someone." Rice
That's why you gotta be a good human, bro.
also explained, at the time they were also throwing the ball about 90% of the time, so it was a great opportunity for me. They assured me that the ball was going to be in the air, coming my way, and then it was up to me to prove to everyone that I could be a professional athlete. He arrived on campus eager to prove Mississippi Valley right for believing in him. As a freshman, he caught 30 passes for 428 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rice followed this up the next season by catching 66 passes for 1,133 yards and 7 touchdowns. It was a very solid start to his collegiate career. Playing at such a small program, Rice knew that he would have to put up eye-popping numbers to get the attention of teams and scouts at the next level. His junior season would most likely make or break
Bro, a lot of these old helmets all said bike on it. B-I-K-E. That's weird, right? Why did they say that?
his chances at going pro. The task was even tougher for him.
Oh, there were those bike helmets? Wow, so football helmets were originated from bicycle helmets. That's crazy, bro. Interesting.
Than people realized. As he said, the food given to him at school was not enough for a growing man. Times were so hard for Rice that he often had to rely on his friends for food. But this lack of nourishment never stopped Rice from getting in extra work with his quarterback. The duo became inseparable, as they would get in hours of additional reps together late at night. That season, their chemistry on the field was impossible to miss. Rice set NCAA records for most receptions with 102 and receiving yards with 1,450, on his way to being named an All-American. Just in case that didn't send a loud enough message to the NFL, Rice somehow managed to take his game to another level as a senior. He broke both of his records with 103 receptions for 1,682 yards and set another one with 27 receiving touchdowns. Having been named an All-American again, Rice shattered every Mississippi Valley touchdown. Having been named
That is not Jerry Rice, my boy. What in the AI? What the hecky?
an All-American again, Rice shattered every Mississippi Valley receiving record, finishing for 301 receptions for 4,693 yards and 50 touchdowns. During his collegiate career, he broke 18 NCAA records. It didn't matter what school he played at. There was simply no debating that Jerry Rice belonged in the NFL. Legendary 49ers coach Bill Walsh fell in love with him watching his college highlights. Walsh's team was coming off 2 Super Bowl victories in the previous 4 seasons, and he believed Rice would keep them at the top. Walsh described him as a swift, smooth player who's got great instincts running with the ball, going to the ball, and catching in a crowd. This analysis inspired San Francisco to get aggressive on draft day and trade their first, second, and third round picks for New England's first and third round picks. So, with the 16th pick of the 1985 draft, the 49ers did something Rice never thought would happen. They drafted him.
San Francisco 49ers select 16th pick in the first round. Wide receiver, Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley.
Years later, he admitted, "To be honest, I never thought I was going to get drafted." Heading into his rookie season, Rice was determined to reward the 49ers for taking a chance on him. He also wanted to show everyone that he belonged in the league, and his insane college numbers weren't just the product of poor competition. But what ended up happening was Rice was putting too much pressure on himself. In his first 13 games, he only had 28 receptions for 493 yards and 2 touchdowns. Looking back on this slow start, Rice said, "I think I wanted to prove myself so much that I overdid it. I was dropping footballs, and then the media got down on me, and the fans started booing me." While this treatment would have caused some players to spiral out of control, it was a wake-up call for Rice. He tapped into his old ways by becoming the first player on the field for practice and the last one to leave. And everything came together in Week 14 against the Rams, when Rice exploded for 10 receptions, 241 yards, and a touchdown. 2 weeks later, in the regular season finale, he had 7 receptions for 111 yards, bringing CBS announcer Pat Summerall to boldly
that's John Madden. Legendary.
declare,
He is going to be a great receiver. Barring injury, he's going to be one of the best to ever play.
it was an extremely strong finish to his rookie campaign and generated a ton of buzz ahead of year 2. Everyone was anxious to see whether it was a fluke or a sign of things to come. The 1986 season would provide an emphatic answer to that question. Rice went out and led the league in receiving yards with 1,570 and touchdown receptions with 15. He showed flashes of brilliance, as there seemed to be nothing that he couldn't do. Rice had the ability to catch a short pass and then make defenders miss, beat them deep with his speed and route running, or out-jump defenders to win contests.
Damn, so he could do it all. He had the route running, he had the strong hands, contested catch, he had speed. Like, damn, what didn't he have?
Balls. As a first-team All-Pro, he was now filled with confidence. Rice built off his brilliant season with what was possibly the greatest season ever by a receiver. In the strike-shortened 87 season, Rice managed to rack up 1,078 yards and a league record 22 receiving touchdowns in just 12 games. To this day, the league record is only 23 receiving touchdowns, which Randy Moss did in 16 games. Rice had officially established himself as one of the next faces of the league and was named Offensive Player of the Year, becoming the first wide receiver to ever take home the award. Having already filled his resume with a handful of personal accolades, the only thing missing was team success. And in 1988, Rice set out to check that box off. He put together another dominant regular season, which was good enough for his third straight first-team All-Pro nomination. That postseason, he put San Francisco on his back and helped them to a Super Bowl appearance with 10 receptions for 194 yards and 5 touchdowns in the team's 2 wins. Then, on the game's biggest stage, Rice etched his name into NFL history. While leading the 49ers to another ring, and his first, he set 2 Super Bowl records with 11 receptions for 215 yards.
Those are records, bro? Damn, hold on. I ain't gonna lie. And nobody's broken any of these records before, right? All right, he might just be the best.
The throw is to Rice. Touchdown.
Damn.
Rice becoming just the 3rd wide receiver ever to be named Super Bowl MVP capped off one of the most dominant postseason stretches ever by a receiver. Feeling on top of the world, things somehow only got better for him. The following season, Rice led the league in receiving yards and touchdowns with 1,483 and 17 before winning his 2nd ring. And again, he rose to the occasion in the Super Bowl with 7 receptions for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That boy's a
In 1990, Rice won the league's unofficial Triple Crown for receiving by leading all 3 main categories with 100 receptions for 1,502 yards and 13 touchdowns. Realistically, Rice couldn't have scripted his first 6 seasons any better. He already had enough accomplishments to last an entire career. By this point, it was just accepted that Rice was unguardable. No matter what scheme an opposing defense concocted, he was going to get open. And over the next 4 seasons, Rice only continued his reign of terror on opposing defenses. During that stretch, he amassed a staggering 374 receptions for 5,409 yards and 52 touchdowns, leading the league in receiving yards and touchdowns twice, respectively, and adding another Offensive Player of the Year award. And to cap it off in 1994, Rice brought home his 3rd ring while making more history. Just as he had done in his first 2 Super Bowls, Rice made it look like he was playing against a JV team. He finished with 10 receptions for 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. This took his combined totals in that particular game to historic levels.
So who's better than him, bro? Like, all this stuff that I'm hearing, I'm like, yo, there's no, like, is he the best receiver of all time, bro? Like, go in the comments.
His 28 receptions for 512 yards and 7 touchdowns were all career Super Bowl records. As people seem to take Rice's greatness for granted at this point, it would take him doing something truly special to surprise anyone. And that's exactly what he did during the 95 season, as he set a league record for most receiving yards in a single season with 1,848. It wasn't until 1997, at 35 years old, when Rice started to look human for the first time since his rookie season. In the 49ers season opener, he tore his ACL and MCL. And as unbelievable as this sounds, Rice, up until that point, had never missed a game throughout high school, college, or the NFL. And while this injury should have forced him to miss the entire season, Rice ignored doctor's orders so that he could return in time for Joe Montana's jersey retirement. In that Week 16 game, Rice electrified the crowd by catching a touchdown in his return. However, there was a cruel twist. As he came down with the ball, he cracked his left patella. This time, his season was officially over. Coming off these serious injuries, people began to wonder how much he had left in the tank. And heading into his 14th season at the age of 36, this speculation was more than fair. But if anyone could find their way back, it would be Rice, the workhorse. He grinded all offseason, rehabbing his knee and trying to regain his form. In yet another chapter where Rice defies all logic, he went out and became the oldest receiver ever to record a 1,000-yard season. He followed this up with 2 more solid seasons before the unthinkable happened. Having suffered 2 consecutive losing seasons, the 49ers decided it was time for a rebuild and said goodbye to the longtime face of their franchise. After being released in the 2001 offseason, Rice signed with the Raiders. Now 39 years old, with 16 seasons under his belt, he should have been running on empty. Instead, Rice managed to do things that only he could do. He put together back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns and led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl appearance in nearly 20 years.
That is crazy. To play for such a long time, I had conditioned my body in a way that I could play for a long time.
But for the first time in his career, Rice came up short in the big game. Despite his 77 yards and a touchdown, the Raiders lost to the Buccaneers.
I mean, bro, he's 40. Yo, nah, he's the greatest of all time. Never mind. I didn't know that he had more in the tank after the freaking 49ers, bro. And then to put up 2,000-yard seasons in your 39 years old? What?
That season, he was named an All-Pro and Pro Bowler at 40 years old, an
He's a superhuman,
unprecedented
bro.
accomplishment for a wide receiver. After a frustrating 2003 season and start to 2004, Rice demanded a trade. 6 games into that year,
played
he
for
went
the
to
Seahawks,
Seattle in
too.
exchange for a 7th-round pick. But Rice couldn't really find his footing there and left during the following offseason to
went
sign
to the
with the Broncos.
Broncos.
However, he never wound up playing a snap for Denver and retired prior to the start of the 2005 season.
Wow.
Done. I'm looking forward to the next phase of my life now.
On his way to being named first-team
Bro,
All-Pro
he's like the
10
oldest
times,
player
Rice
ever.
led the league in receiving
Definitely
yards
the
and
oldest receiver.
touchdowns 6 times respectively. And when it was all said and done, he owned virtually every significant NFL receiving record. Some of the more notable career ones were receptions with 1,549, receiving yards with 22,895, 1,000-yard receiving seasons with 14, and total touchdowns with 208. To this day, Rice still owns NFL records for most career receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Nobody has even come close to some of these, with Rice having over 5,000 more yards than the next closest person and 41 more touchdowns. From the eye test to his individual records to his team's success, there is no debating Jerry Rice as the greatest wide receiver of all time, nor his spot on football's Mount Rushmore for all players, regardless of position.
That's nuts, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. What a freak. Yo, I learned a lot right there, man. Big shout out to Blitz, man. You know I love you, bro. Man, that's crazy, bro. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. That was a banger, bro. I want to do more videos like that where I'm learning stuff about like old school players because I didn't know nothing about him for real, bro. So that's dope. I think he's definitely the best receiver of all time with all those stuff. But hey, man, make sure you always put God first. Remember that you are chosen, so move like it. I'll see you on the next one. It's your boy Eli Mack. Gang, gang.